definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Hey, what's happening? Good morning and welcome. Happy Thursday, y'all. It is the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. Alongside Jeffrey Haxton, I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White across the way handling us once again today. You too can join us. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your hopes, dreams, score predictions, any and all are welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. Hanging with you till noon as usual today. Plenty to get into as we are creeping on the weekend. Not there yet.
You ever just feel like you're just sitting here permanently?
Like someone won't let you out of the room?
No, I mean, it's just like this is all you do?
No.
Okay.
I don't quite. Maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Well, it's just like, it just...
Well, I mean, we do
It's a montage of you starting the show in my mind every day. Every day.
Maybe I need to change it up because I started very similar. So I'm gonna tomorrow. That's the goal. I'm gonna be very different in the way we.
I mean, we all have crutches in this business.
Oh yeah, but I definitely start the show almost the same every single day. How you doing today?
I felt like I watched Hickory against South Bend last night. You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't really watch any sports. I was out and about, so I'm trying to think of what.
I was
you took in
entire kid babysitting because Jen went and played softball.
Okay,
and they play so late. She started at 9:00. Anyway, Bellarmine beats Louisville, and this Bellarmine. The reason you never heard of them because they're transitioning into Division I.
Okay, I actually had heard of them. Where?
I think it's in Kentucky.
Oh, isn't that the Jack, what's his face, Jack Harlow school?
I don't know.
Go ahead. Keep going.
I don't know about Jack Harlow. He wears me out.
Oh, I can't stand him. So I probably don't like Bellarmine now.
These kids, to a man, about 4 inches smaller than the guy that they were playing, kind of in a maroon uniform.
Okay.
And it just looked like Hoosiers over. I mean, they're running backdoor cuts. They're shot faking like crazy. Ball faking, shot faking. And the thing that I enjoyed the most, I actually saw a Division I basketball player box out another one. What a lost art that is. Someone actually boxed out,
someone put a butt on
held
someone.
Off the Louisville player, and then off a bounce got the ball. And I almost got up out of my seat for a standing ovation. Anyway, Bellarmine's getting a check. This is a pay game. They don't get a call for the last 5 minutes except for one, and it was a pretty big one. But I really enjoyed watching that last night. It felt like 15 versus a 2.
Well, you told us, earlier, what was it, a week ago when Louisville lost their
exhibition.
It wasn't even a closed-door scrimmage. It was an exhibition. This Louisville team's in trouble. Who's the coach there now?
I think.
I saw him 15. I can't tell you. But you know who's on that bench as an assistant?
I don't.
Danny Manning.
Really? No.
Maybe Danny Manning just flat out can't coach.
I think they beat Liberty last year in the A-Sun championship game. So they're in the same conference as Liberty.
So did they play in the tournament?
They could not go to the tournament last year.
Okay.
It was either Liberty or nobody out of the A-Sun because they were still in the transition phase. So if Liberty would have won the championship game, they would have gotten it. Since Liberty lost, nobody went as a Big Sun.
Wow.
So the Bellarmine guy, Louisville misses the last second shot.
Mm-hmm.
He gets the rebound on the baseline with 5 seconds left, throws it over his head. Now remember, he's on the Louisville basket.
Yeah.
Throws it over his head, and it just bounces down the court and goes out of bounds on the other baseline. So he's killing the clock.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It worked.
Yeah. They had 1 second left. Full court, couldn't do nothing.
Wow. There you go.
So it's about $100,000 check to go beat to get your first Power 5 victory ever, and just kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, but it hadn't happened in Lubbock yet, right? Talking current era. We haven't seen any teams come in here and really fight you that shouldn't have or shouldn't be in that position. Hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon, because you got one of those tonight, a pay game. Texas Southern, Red Raiders, and Tigers, right? I got that right.
Correct.
They're Houston, right?
Correct.
Okay. So Texas Southern coming into town. This will be a better team on paper, right, than Northwestern State? Like
yes.
Vegas.
They were
says
19 and 13 last year.
So.
And 13 and 5 in the SWAC.
Pitt first to win the SWAC conference.
This is
when they beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi in the play-in game and then got demolished by Kansas.
This is one of those games where you root hard for Texas Southern after this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, because you want them to go win the SWAC. You want.
What was the line, by the way?
20 is the first one I saw.
Okay.
So you're still a substantial favorite, but
I was up there yesterday, got my interviews done for the most part, and so they were had a big long talk after the practice, and I think trying to flash the warning signs.
Right. Make sure
you can lose to.
You can be Louisville.
You can be Louisville. You can be Oklahoma. You can be TCU, even though TCU won.
Didn't deserve to. But, yeah, this is one of those games where if you're not careful, if you're not bringing your A game. But, again, we talked about it this week. It's hard for Tech to ever be flat in United Supermarkets Arena. Like, with that kind of atmosphere, that kind of energy. Basketball is so much different from football because the Baylor crowd was a really good crowd in football, right? I mean, that's one of the better ones we've seen in a while. But in football, you almost have to give them a reason to get going. You have to give them a reason to get the crowd going, and then you feed off of each other. In basketball, you could just be hyped up and a bunch of nut jobs in the stands for no reason. And that can give the juice you need, or that can give you the energy from the get-go. So it's hard to ever envision. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's hard to ever envision you having just a flop game at United Supermarkets Arena and losing to a team where you'd be favored by 20 points or so. I'm knocking on all sorts of wood because you play them tonight, but I fully expect you to see a similar effort to what we saw on Monday night against Northwestern State. Now, I'm curious because we got to see a really good shooting effort on Monday night. Does that carry over? Do you get to see that in a consistent basis, on a consistent basis? So we'll get to take another look tonight at this new look Red Raider team. I'm excited for it. We'll get Hax's breakdown, let him tell us a little bit about the Tigers of Texas Southern. Of course, we'll look ahead to football this weekend. Red Raiders in as much of a must-win game as you've got this year against the Kansas Jayhawks. We'll dive into that matchup, look at the numbers that separate the two teams as well. All of that to come. Got some headlines for you, including some high school football, a lot of high school football in the playoffs tonight. That's ahead. It's the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's time for what you need to know, part of the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. He's Geoff Haxton. I'm Chois Woodman. Hax will start the headlines off with a slew of high school playoff games tonight. As, it's 6 o'clock. Andrews is taking on the El Paso Austin Panthers in Alpine tonight. Bovina and Seagraves going at it in Slayton this evening at 6. Clint, Mountain View, and Seminole playing at 7. Lamesa and Shallowater out at Lubbock Cooper. If you want to take that one in at 7 o'clock. That's a local game. Sundown against Stratford at 7 up in Hereford. Farwell against Olton in Littlefield at 7. I'm just going to tell you all these games are at 7. Lubbock Roosevelt versus Canadian in Canyon. Muleshoe up against Brownfield in Leveland. Dalhart takes on Denver City at Lowry Field. Plains Cowboys taking on the Rawls Jackrabbits in Post. New Deal against Highland Park, Amarillo Highland Park in Dimmitt. The Leveland Lobos against the Monahans Lobos, at the Mustang Bowl in Andrews. And then out in Wolforth at Peoples Bank Stadium, Kermit Yellow Jackets up against the Bushland Falcons. So a ton of opportunity to go watch some high school football tonight, if that's your flavor. Or maybe you want to take in some basketball. Texas Tech basketball this evening, as the Red Raider basketball team is back on the hardwood, 1-0 so far this season. They'll take on the Texas Southern Tigers at United Supermarkets Arena. Full pregame this time, 6 o'clock coverage start time with Hax and...
Hax.
Oh, yeah, it's Hax tonight because Level will JIP, right?
JIP.
Because Chris Level you'll find over at Rudy's tonight with Red Raider football with Joey McGuire at 6 o'clock. And you'll listen to that right here on 100.7 The Score. Then Level gets to scurry over to United Supermarkets Arena and join Hax on the broadcast a little after 7 o'clock for Texas Tech and Texas Southern. We will pick up that game also at 7 o'clock right here on 100.7 The Score. So plenty of opportunity for you to listen in. You excited?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I think I guess the part that, the last few years with the massive amounts of turnover that you've had within the program, it makes these games that are blowout games more interesting because it's such a information gathering process early in the season. You're just like, hey, I get to watch this guy for the first time, or all of these guys for the first time. So you're really just taking in so much. I think it does make these otherwise boring games, or what should be boring games, a little bit more interesting. So
listen to their schedule, Choice.
Texas Southern?
Uh-huh. So they lost their first game at San Francisco, 90-77.
Okay.
Of course, Tech. Then they go and take on Arizona State. Oral Roberts. That's kind of a little festival thing at H&PE Arena.
I have no idea.
That's not their place, is it?
It might be.
It is. I'll be darned.
They
get Arizona State to come in there. Huh. Okay.
Really?
Yep.
It's Houston, so.
So those are the next two, Arizona State and Oral Roberts. Then at Houston, at Auburn, at Samford, at Kansas. With still at Wichita State to come. Yeesh.
Pretty stout schedule.
Yeah.
Pretty stout. But you
get paid.
You get paid, and their way to make it to the tournament anyway is to win their own league. So
it wouldn't surprise me if they beat Arizona State.
I have no idea. Are they any good this year? Or do we have any idea?
Are they ever any really good?
Not consistently, but they have years.
Tonight, watch out for P.J. Henry. 21 points against the Dons. And John Walker had 19. John Walker the third. And they have a player named Shakir O'Neal.
Oh, my goodness. Shakir O'Neal. That's good stuff.
Shaqir.
That's good stuff. A ton of future Red Raiders signing on the dotted line yesterday. Probably most notable, at least for our listening audience, out of Frisco, Drew Steffi signed to the basketball team. He's a 4-star athlete. Golf got a guy named Prince Hill. Men's golf got a guy named Prince Hill. Several soccer players signing for Tom Stone and company. Like several. I think there were 7 different soccer players that signed yesterday. Softball got 5 different players that signed. Volleyball picked up a couple. Lady Raider basketball got Logan Johnson out of Houston Christian High School. And women's golf
You
got a
notice that
couple.
Houston Baptist changed their name to Houston Christian?
I did. I didn't know it happened officially yet, but I knew they were on the way to. I saw it in the headline somewhere. So it's official?
Mm-hmm.
Like this year is Houston Christian? Poor why?
Marketing?
Really? That's
I guess.
Christian's better than Baptist? I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me.
Well, do you want all of the Christians or just the Baptists?
Oh, we don't want to narrow down to the Baptists. All right. I think you're onto something. All of the
Although
Christians will take you.
The Baptists pretty good at singling themselves out.
Yeah, I'd say so. Or you could be like Texas Christian and be ashamed of your Christian part of your name. There's that too. So Houston Christian, who knew? Hax did. Tech volleyball. I was wrong. I'm wrong a lot, but unfortunately on this one, Tech volleyball falls short to OU 3-2 last night in Norman. Man, it's been a rough. It has been a rough go of it for Tech volleyball. 7 straight losses. Hard to play without a passer, essentially a setter, as Hax has outlined for us. NBA, San Antonio falls to Memphis last night, 124-122 in overtime. Orlando took out Dallas in Orlando, 94-87, and the Rockets lose 116-109 to Toronto. So all 3 Texas teams falling short. A rare back-to-back for the Mavericks as they'll be in action tonight, taking on Lucas's Wizards. They'll be at 6 o'clock from Washington. You do claim them, right? Still, even though they're terrible.
Yeah. Okay. I really like Bradley Beal, and I was glad that they were able to keep him. So
honestly, could not have told you he was still a Wizard. Like
really?
Yeah. I mean, I read the scores, and that's about it with my NBA knowledge. Also, Hax. The Rangers, Texas Rangers, a little active yesterday. Did you see this?
No.
The Rangers have acquired Jake Odorizzi from the Atlanta Braves for Colby Allard and cash options. Odorizzi will reportedly exercises $12.5 million player option for 2023. This is a name that's been pretty good. Last year, not as good. Odorizzi was with the Astros a couple of seasons ago, got traded, actually last year, to Atlanta. And in 22 starts overall, he had a 4.40 ERA. It's all right. This is not an ace option, but he is a good 2-3 option in your rotation. So hopefully the start of building something real for the Rangers. Be a great addition to putting, Jacob deGrom back there in the rotation. Hope that happens. You too can join us. Thoughts, comments, questions, all welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through the 100.7 The Score mobile app and at 107thescore.com. We'll take a look around the Big 12 coming up in a little bit. We will talk some more Tech hoops. Get Hax's thoughts on what more narrowed rotations are going to look like after these first 2 or 3 games. How's Louisiana Tech this year? I know I'm looking ahead already. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
First year,
don't know what
they've had a couple of guys that are pros and they've been decent.
Oh yeah, they just lost the big pudgy dude.
Big dude.
What was his name? Lofton. Kenneth Lofton.
Large Lofton.
Large boy Lofton. That dude is something else. Good player.
But I have no idea about this year.
You back to a few of your thoughts coming up next. It's the end of the bench. Also take a look at the calendar on the way on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Thanks for hanging with us on a Thursday. You got the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Lots of your thoughts Rolling in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. This was the first text today. Can y'all have a calm, cool, and collected show today? Chuck and Sneed rattled my brain. Sounded like Sneed came in for blood. Like
Blood Thursdays with Chris Sneed.
I think he's like spouting off that the Big 12's a big steaming pile of average, I believe was his words. Which, I mean...
That's great. A steaming pile of average.
Sneed is paid by the SEC to tout their brand, so that's good for him. I don't know. The Big 12...
he stayed consistent.
Oh, sure. The Big 12 has a lot of slightly above average teams, is how I'd say. There's plenty of average, too. But when you don't have that top-tier team, you know, someone to be the flag bearer for the conference.
Or when that team is TCU.
See that? I did exactly what they want me to do. I did what the College Football Playoff Committee wanted me to do. I just left out TCU. Yep. You do have a flag bearer right now.
Yep.
They're in the College Football Playoff as of right now. But I did what they wanted because they don't have the brand name. They've brainwashed me too. Sneed has with his, SEC love fest. I don't know. The Big 12 is if you're going top to bottom, it's a better conference easily than the ACC. I think the ACC is the worst this year, even behind the Pac-12. Or behind the Pac-12. Pac-12, probably next. The Big Ten, what do they have besides two really good football teams?
Oh, Indiana.
You almost said that with a straight face. You had a little smirk there. But seriously, I mean, they got two amazing football teams, and then most teams in the Big 12 are going to beat most teams in the Big 10 this year. So I don't think you could call it a big steaming pile of average. So I want an amendment, Sneed. It is a big steaming pile of slightly above average is what I want. No, but again, we've been so conditioned. If you don't have a blue blood that's at the top, your league sucks.
So what's that going to do when the blue bloods exit?
I'm nervous for it.
Will you ever have?
I am glad that we see a 12-team playoff coinciding with the exit.
You'd never get in.
Yeah, you'd never get in. It would take a true undefeated team. It would take TCU.
Which you're never going to get.
You might have it once in a blue moon.
Once in a decade.
Yeah. But, right. The Big 12, because of the...
I think you're going to have a whole lot of, man, today stunk, but basketball season's around the corner.
Alex, because of the inherent biases that remain in college football.
Which is never changing.
It's never changing.
Hasn't changed over
the
120
Big 12
years.
Has to. When Texas and OU exit, the Big 12 has to have an automatic bid. It does. You've got to be one of 5 conferences with an automatic bid. Because there will be ways to leave them out. There will be ways to leave the Pac-12 and sometimes the ACC out if it's not Clemson or Florida State. Or maybe Miami if they ever get off the mat. So, yeah. I think we've been calm, cool, and collected so far. But no promises it's going to stay that way. South Texas Ambassador says, good morning, guys. First text of the day for the show. Just want to say Tech is 4-0 when we carry the ball more than 35 times with Taj and Sir Roderick. Run the ball with the running backs. You actually ran pretty well against TCU. You did. You just got away from it. And the sack yardage killed you, too. So,
who's taking the first snap?
Tyler. You agree? Whoa.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You guess?
I guess.
I would be surprised. As highly as we've heard Chuck spoken about. I mean, if you go out and see him really have a noodle arm and it really just looks like it's not there, then I think you may see a switch in the game. But I'd be surprised if it's not Tyler Shuck. And I have no inside information on that.
Until tonight.
What are you talking about? I don't know anything.
Thursday at Rudy's. Choice gets the scoop.
Nah. Mark says... Oh, sorry. I lost the text. Texas Southern is a top SWAC team, right? Yeah. Yeah, we said that. Another one's asking you, do we expect more? Ryan asks, do we expect more out of Fisher tonight?
Oh, every night's going to be a complete clean slate for him, and it will depend on what he does with his mistakes. If he makes mistakes, he's not going to play a ton. If he doesn't, he'll play a lot. So, but every time you're not going to know what you're going to get. You could get brilliance, or you could get 9 minutes. Yeah. And a few mistakes. The hook is still there, even though you're trying to develop all this talent and get him to play cohesively. The hook is still there. And we saw that with Northwestern State. And we saw that for the most veteran players, too. If Davion Harmon made a mistake, hook. That bench is still active with, we're going to teach after these mistakes are made, and we're going to do our best to just continue to learn. And so...
How is this? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to
say, how is this team different? And you may know the answer to this, you may not, or it may still be to be determined. But how's this team different with your different assistant coach that swapped out? Barrett Peary versus Al Pinkins.
I have not been able to tell that difference yet. I know both of those guys wanted to play up tempo.
Yeah.
I know Coach Green does. I think Coach Green's got a...
Right. I didn't even mention Coach Green, but he's brand new too. Yeah.
I think Coach Green's got a very, I don't want to say complicated, but you have to have your cerebral part of your game going to run some of these sets and some of these offenses. So I would say 70% of what they want to run is in still.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to learn some of the basics. But I've not been able to tell just a massive difference because Peary was the offensive guy.
Right.
Now Green's the offensive guy. So every time I go up there, they're putting something else in before they even stretch just to try and work on it as to a set they might run. But that'll be something I think after Maui I'll be able to answer.
Okay. I think we get a lot of answers in Maui, and none of them definitive because it's so early in the season, but we get to learn a lot about this team earlier in the year than it feels like we have in the past. All right, we'll get back to some more of your thoughts momentarily. Football, basketball. Right now, let's look at today's calendar. Today is Thursday, November the 10th, year of our Lord 2022. Happy Area Code Day. How many different area codes have you lived in?
405, 580, 918, 806.
4. All right. I have lived in one in my entire life.
Yeah, because that goes all the way up.
That goes all the way up to the tips of the borders. Wonder if we'll ever get another one. Like, what's the limitation? How many do you have to get get a new area code?
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I'm sure there's a math thing to it. So, do we not have 1 million people in West Texas? Yeah, we do. In this part of West Texas and the Panhandle. Lucas, how many area codes have you lived in? You've lived a lot of places.
4. 703 was Virginia, and then 630 was Illinois, and 806 was here, and then Columbia actually has its own area code, but I don't know
country
that one.
code, yeah.
Yeah.
National Forget-Me-Not Day, National Vanilla Cupcake Day. In or out?
Sure.
I'm usually leaving it alone. Like, I mean, if it's the only thing, then yeah, but almost every other cupcake is better than the vanilla cupcake. U.S. Marine Corps Day. Shout out. And thank you for your service. And Sesame Street Day. Josh Peck has a birthday. Probably don't know who that is, do you?
Nope.
Nickelodeon fame. That's why you don't know. Ellen Pompeo. Tracy Morgan. You know that guy.
Tracy Morgan.
That's pretty good. On the spot. He's 54.
Never tried that before.
And Scottie Pippen Jr. Also Sinbad.
Sinbad's in his 60s, huh?
Best role. Jingle all the way.
Yeah.
It's the end of the bench.
Jingle all the way.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Glad to be with you on a Thursday. You got the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com. And on the 100.7 The Score mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. That guy to my right is Geoff Haxton. I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White behind the glass taking care of us. Keep them coming. Your thoughts, your comments, plenty of reaction in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through that 100.7 The Score mobile app. We got some more basketball
I never heard
thoughts.
you say that the chat line's just dead.
There's times I'll encourage it more because I know it is. There are times. You know, Hax, when we started 100.7 The Score, or like when we transitioned from the old station AM 950 100.7, which by the way you can still listen to us on the AM dial. When we kind of launched this new sports all sports station, I remember people didn't know how to use the chat line, and I think it coincided with us losing or like dropping a text line where you could text in. So there were shows early on where we literally would get one or two posts a day. One or two.
Hello, I'm listening. Hello.
Yeah. So it's like, is anybody out there? Anybody? But we appreciate you finding us on your FM dial or your app, wherever you may be listening today. But you're right. I'm never going to say, man, you guys suck. Chime in more. We love y'all. Someone saying, I think Sneed said the only chance Choice would have to win this race is if he horse collar tackles him on the way past and snaps his ribs in half. Bullfighter says he kept calling you out, Choice. I'm going to humble Sneed soon, though. I don't know that I want to do this. Sneed wants me to race him on the warning track, you know, the whole during a Tech baseball game. He's got advantages that I don't. Just look at him. So he's taller and longer legged. That's what I was talking about, obviously. So Hax.
Thanks for that clarification.
I don't. Why would I do
Luke
this?
is in there just shaking his head.
Why would I do this? Why am I going to race if I know I'm going to lose? He tells me he'll give me like a 20-yard head start. Still probably going to lose. So if Sneed wants to get his butt beat, he just needs to compete in the Olympics.
Why do you think Sneed wants to race you so badly?
Because he's jealous. Mostly of our show.
He's got to know. Yeah, there's that. But he's got to know that I outran you.
Right.
So I'm wondering what kind of like.
Yeah, what's there?
Motivation to outrun a slow guy is.
That's a good point. I am slow.
And you and I are both
and
slow.
Chuck called me like, what was it, fat-legged? Heavy-legged. Heavy-legged.
What?
Pretty rich, Chuck.
Chuck.
Never seen a slower-moving person than Chuck Hines, but he'll call. I would race Chuck in the pool. He's very confident in his ability there.
I know his
I feel like
swimming ability.
He would probably beat me, but if he beat me, I mean, if I beat him, I'm not sure Chuck would have anything more to live for. Like, it would be such a ego blow to Chuck if I were to beat him in the pool where he's got his confidence. It's like if someone shaved Chuck's head bald one day. Because I think his swimming skills and his hair are the two things he feels like he's got going for him the most. And mowing without shirts. But there's that. Back to football. Someone says, Chuck is the safe bet, but I'd roll out Donovan, see what we get. Just pray to God we don't turn the ball over.
I thought you said Chuck is the safe bet.
Not Chuck. Shuck.
Shook?
Shook. I should, yeah. Gus Johnson knows better than us. Shook is the safe bet. even when Klatt's trying to get him to say it right. Do you have a preference on who you'd want to see?
Yeah, I want to see Donovan Smith.
Is that just because we've seen more from him this year?
I want to see, what sounds crazy, I want to see more ball control on Saturday. I want to see longer drives.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep Neal off the field. And I want to see you grind somebody up. And I think that's Donovan Smith to a T.
I don't think you're wrong. You've won games that way this year. Yeah.
You get to 3rd and 4, you pick up 2 or 3, you go for it, you extend drives, clock keeps running, and you try to wear the other team out. That's the way I think you can beat Kansas. Because this is a different breed. This is a different Kansas team than you're used to seeing. They have pieces, even on the lines. And if you're allowing Neal to gash you repeatedly, that's going to spell bad news. So I don't know. I've been, I guess, pushing for Donovan Smith since even back in August.
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, you have. I don't know that you're wrong on that.
The durability aspect, probably the health aspect. I don't know. I just feel like it should be him.
He's been able to take hits the best. There's no question about that. He's built like a linebacker. That helps, or a tight end. But I just don't know what to expect. I mean, I know that I said Shuck is who I expect, but I'm with you. I think the way to beat this Kansas team is to keep the ball away from them a little bit. The other part is you got to score, because there are times where you're able to play a little keep away from TCU's offense last weekend, but when you're just moving the ball between the 20s or even further back or just hanging around midfield the whole day, it doesn't matter. You've got to find a way to get in the end zone. And Tech has struggled with that a little bit as of late. A lot as of late. Baylor game and TCU game haven't found a way to get in the end zone. This one's funny. I'm glad we don't have the text in anymore. I can't count the number of times I accidentally texted y'all instead of my wife. Yeah, I know that happened a lot. We would get the "I love you" texts and the other ones that were obviously meant for other people.
And I remember
those were pretty entertaining.
It was for all the stations, and you would have keywords sent in, and you'd be like running down like, yeah, the Red Raiders are going to play this Saturday, and it would say lightning bolt or just something out of nowhere. I was like, what's
going on? Hey, Choice, give the Big Ten its credit. They have 2 good teams and 1 awful fight. Yeah, I forgot the fight. That was mixed in there. Someone else says, it's been noted that this year's football team is lacking in team speed and individuals with game-breaking speed. Are there any speedsters in the recruiting pipeline? I'm not sitting there going to these rivals camps and stuff, so I couldn't tell you with my own 2 eyes, but from what I'm told, yes, you've got quite a bit more speed coming in this future recruiting class. Spite Raiders says, we lost a recruit to Notre Dame? Apparently that's the case, yeah. I think you had a receiver decommit. But I've been told this might be a good thing, because you might be able to add transfer portal depth in the trenches with that extra scholarship. So it's a need.
Could have a coach like Gundy who just says, nah, I don't want to mess with the portal.
Forget about it.
Got a bunch of needs we got to fill, but nah, we're not going to do it.
It's the end of the bench. Hax brings us highs and lows coming up next on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It's the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. He's Hax. I'm Chois. Jackson across the way. No news for you, because the president has returned.
Good morning, Mr. President. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing today, Hax?
Well, I'm doing better than your picks last week, sir. You were 0-3.
I know it was a rough outing for me last week, boys. I'm not, but I don't know if my outing was as bad as what you gentlemen did to poor Lucas. I saw that video of him with the pantyhose on his head and trying to blow out a candle. That worried me a little bit for that young man.
Well, he survived, but yeah, that was not pretty, was it? I mean, he just kind of crushed his face a little bit.
How much money do we have to raise to do it to Hax?
You're going to have to raise a lot of money, I guess.
A lot of money.
I don't know.
Pantyhose wouldn't even fit over my head, Mr. President. Hey, what'd you think about the midterms? Anything?
Well, maybe a little surprising there. I think people got a little bit antsy on both sides of the deal, and there wasn't the big wave everybody thought was going to happen. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here in the next few months when people kind of get themselves into office and some changes are made.
Do you care?
Oh, hell no, Hack. I'm just sitting back enjoying a beer.
Good for you. You've earned that right. Would you like to get into your picks, sir? 3 of them.
Well, absolutely. I hope I do better this week. Let me get into those real quick, gentlemen. I got to pull up my list here. Let's see. My first game I got is the Kansas State Wildcats. They're going to be in Waco taking on the Baylor Bears, and I think it's a 2.5. Is that right, gentlemen?
I believe so. That's what it was yesterday when I looked.
I think I'm going to go with Kansas State to actually win that game. I hear it's a little hard to get tickets out to people there in Waco, and parts of Waco are a little rough still, gentlemen. It's not all the interior design stuff that we see on TV. So
that's right.
I'm going to go with the Kansas State Wildcats in that game.
Have you ever encountered Waco Zombie?
No, I can't say that I have, and I'm probably glad I haven't.
Well, every now and then, if some of the parts of towns that you'll see a guy, he's just completely gone walking. I call those Waco Zombies. What you got next?
Well, I'm going to go with the Texas Tech Red Raiders hosting those Jayhawks. They're called from Kansas. I still have yet to figure out what in the world that is, but the Bluebirds that Clint likes. Well, I'm going to go with the Texas Tech Red Raiders at home against the Bluebirds from Kansas. So I'm going to go with Tech to cover that. So I think it's 3.5, gentlemen. Is that right?
That is correct. That's where it sits.
All right. And I'm going to go with the Big 12 trifecta here. I'm going to go with one more here. TCU. Those Purple Lizards. They're going down to Austin to play Texas, and the 7 points. That's a lot of points there. I think that TCU is going to at least beat that 7-point spread there against the Longhorns.
Wow. Okay. Going with the underdog, undefeated, top 4 ranked TCU team might be a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
Any weekend plans, sir?
Well, no. I think I'm just going to kind of hang back and enjoy myself. I know that the cool breeze is starting to blow in around different parts of our wonderful Lone Star State. So I think I'm going to enjoy that. Have a nice little hot cocoa in front of the fireplace and watch a little football this weekend, gentlemen.
Man, that sounds like a great plan. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You bet. You gentlemen have yourselves a good week.
You too.
Right. That's President George W. Bush with his picks.
Dub.
To go over it again, Kansas State plus 2.5, Texas Tech minus 3.5, and TCU plus 7 down in Austin. He takes, as he said, the Purple Lizards.
Purple Lizards. They are lizards. Horned frogs live in South America. You too can join us if you want to call us, like the president did, 806-771-0973 on the Benchmark hotline. We got Ask the Benchwarmers about 20 minutes or so away from right now, so get your questions in. Coach Tadlock. It's not.
We've had that asked before.
It's the president. Hax, he went through some Big 12 games. What game has you drawn to it this weekend besides the one here and I assume the one that has College Game Day there in Austin as well?
I don't care. Jackson Flaxen Waxen.
I don't care.
Don't care. All right, you ready?
I guess so. I have no
If
idea
you
what's
get
coming.
5 of these, you win.
Out of
6, you get a lunch.
out
10.
of at 6, I get
Yeah.
a lunch.
Yeah.
So you are coming with a hard
Which country is the world's largest
Oh,
island
gosh.
nation?
one. Australia.
Indonesia. Who became president
I don't
of
consider
Ukraine
Australia
in 2019?
The president of Ukraine, that one comedian guy. I don't remember. his name.
Zelensky. Which country is home to the world's
Nick Zelensky?
Which country is home to the world's largest pyramid?
Shrunk the Kids, too. The world's largest... I feel like this is going to be a trick question here. I'm going to go with Egypt.
Mexico.
I knew
you should
it
have
was
known
going to
that.
be...
Which country has the most active volcanoes?
Most active volcanoes. Come back to it. Thinking on it.
Really? You got to make a guess.
I gotta make
Because you're
a
not
guess.
going to get it.
New Guinea.
Indonesia. That's 0 for 4.
I almost did Indonesia, but then you already had it in one, so I didn't think I could do it again.
Who filed for a patent on the telephone the same day as Alexander Graham Bell?
Thomas Edison.
Alicia Gray.
Thomas Motorola.
Thomas Motorola.
I don't care.
The body's highest blood flow is in which organ?
Almost. You're trying to bait me.
Yeah, well,
You're trying
that's part
to
of the
bait
show.
me. Highest blood flow is in the kidneys.
Got one!
Woo!
Kidneys! What substance is hair made from?
Keratin.
Really?
That's what I said. What?
You cheat?
No.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which part of the brain is for creativity?
Hold on.
Are you having a Kevin Malone
Left side.
frontal left side
Left side.
frontal cortex?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the left brain or right brain. You didn't say which.
Which country was the first to legalize gay marriage?
Which country? New Zealand.
Netherlands. Nice. It was an N.
I was close. I got the N right.
What are the 2 official languages of Kenya?
Oh my gosh. Swahili and what's the other one?
4,
I give
3, 2, to be continued.
It's the end of the bench.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.